Lena thought the worst was over once the police left. The vows had been spoken, the kiss shared, the cheers rising like thunder against the afternoon sky. For a moment it seemed as if love had triumphed, simple and clean. But life rarely lets victories stay untouched. The neighbor, her name was Mrs. Harland, hadn't truly disappeared. From behind her blinds, she kept watching, her bitterness festering like an open wound. To her, the sight of joy, just across the fence, wasn't a celebration. It was a reminder of everything she couldn't control. And Marcus knew that people like her didn't stop with one phone call. They doubled down. The reception carried on under strings of lights as dusk settled in. The laughter slowly returned. Children chased each other across the lawn, while the violinists switched to lively tunes. Lena whispered to Marcus, her voice low but steady.
Let's not let her ruin this for us. Not today.
Marcus smiled, though his jaw tightened.
Not today, but tomorrow. We'll have to deal with it.
He was right. The next morning, headlines were already circling online. Police interrupt mayor's wedding. Some spun the story with sympathy. Others used it as ammunition, questioning why a gathering had drawn so much attention in the first place. The video clips posted by guests had gone viral overnight. And Mrs. Harland? She was suddenly getting more attention than she'd ever had in her life, and she didn't like it one bit. Neighbors began to whisper. Some called her out directly, others avoided her, but the damage had been done. One phone call had exposed not just her prejudice, but the ugly reality of what too many people still believed. For Marcus, it became a choice: stay silent or speak up. He chose the latter. At the next city press conference, cameras crowded around as Marcus stepped to the podium, Lena standing at his side. His voice was calm, but carried the weight of a man who had been both humiliated and strengthened in the same breath.
2 nights ago,
He began.
I stood at an altar with the woman I love, ready to begin our life together. But before I could even say my vows, sirens split through the joy. Police cars surrounded us, not because we broke any law, not because we posed any threat, but because one neighbor saw the color of our skin, heard music, and assumed danger.
The room was silent. Reporters scribbled furiously.
And yet,
Marcus continued, his voice rising.
what was meant to ruin us only revealed our strength. What was meant to shame us only proved our unity. I stand here today not as a victim, but as proof that love is stronger than fear and community louder than hate.
The speech went viral. Across the city and beyond, it sparked conversations. Some people defended Mrs. Harland, blinded by the same fears she carried. But far more spoke out against her actions, sharing their own stories of judgment, of false assumptions, of being treated as less than human for simply existing. And while Marcus carried himself with dignity, Lena struggled with quieter wounds. She replayed the moment in her mind, her bouquet slipping, her father's hand tightening, the look of fear in the eyes of children nearby. She told Marcus late one night, tears streaking her face, "I can't stop thinking about it. How quickly happiness can turn to fear. How fragile it all feels." Marcus held her, whispering,
That's why we keep going. That's why we stand taller. Because if we don't, they win.
But just when it seemed things were beginning to heal, another blow came. A petition circulated, started anonymously, demanding Marcus resign as mayor. It accused him of creating disorder, of inviting trouble with his so-called rowdy gatherings. The language was veiled, but the intent was clear. It was Mrs. Harland, or someone like her, fanning the flames again. The tension grew. Supporters rallied behind Marcus, organizing community marches and filling social media with messages of love and solidarity. At the same time, critics spread lies, twisting the wedding incident into something ugly. The true test had only begun. One night, just a week after the wedding, Marcus found a note slipped under his front door. The handwriting was jagged, almost trembling with anger. "You don't belong here. Leave before it gets worse." Lena gasped when she saw it, but Marcus only folded the paper carefully.
They want fear.
He said softly.
We'll give them courage instead.
And so, the newlyweds made a choice that would define not only their marriage, but their legacy. They opened their home, not just to friends and family, but to the community. Every week, they hosted dinners, conversations, safe spaces where neighbors from every walk of life could gather. Black, white, rich, poor, young, old. It didn't matter. Their living room became a place where walls of prejudice began to crack. One story, one meal, one laugh at a time. Slowly, the narrative shifted. The city stopped talking about the interruption at the wedding and started talking about the movement born from it. And what of Mrs. Harland? She remained behind her blinds, watching, bitter but alone. Her calls went unanswered. Her whispers lost their power. And though she never admitted her guilt, the silence around her spoke louder than words ever could. Marcus and Lena's wedding was remembered not as the day police arrived, but as the day a city chose love over suspicion. The day prejudice was exposed and dignity stood taller. Because sometimes the hardest trials arrive in moments meant for joy. And sometimes what was meant to break us becomes the very spark that builds something unshakable. So remember this: when hate knocks on your door, answer it with love. When fear tries to take the microphone, speak with courage. And when the world tells you to shrink, stand tall. Because you never know, your story might just change more than your own life. It might change an entire community. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends.